Okay, here we go. Let's get through this first lick, which is being played over the E flat 7 chord, the 4 chord in our B flat 12 bar blues. So this lick I like a lot, and I use variations of it a lot. It works really well. So the core notes in this are really the major third of E flat, which is the G, and the root, and the flat 7. So E flat the root and D flat the flat 7. That's 3/4 of our E flat 7 chord. We get the major third, the root, and the 7. The only note that we don't have is the 5th. So works really well over a dominant chord. A lot of people use this lick. I've certainly heard Jimi Hendrix use it. I've certainly heard Stevie Ray Vaughan use it. Variations of it. So very cool little lick. So we're going from the E flat 7, that's where this lick starts out, and then we're going back to the 1 chord, the B flat 7 at the end. So let me play through it one time, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. So basically the first few notes there are the notes we've already talked about. We get the major third of E flat, we get the E flat root, and then we go down to the D flat 7, the flat 7 of the E flat chord. So, and then when we transition to the B flat 7, we do this. Obviously that's going to work well over the B flat 7 because we got the B flat note and the A flat, the flat 7 of B flat. That's what makes the B flat 7 A flat 7, is we have the flat 7 note in it. So that's going to work well over this. So again, like I said in part 1 of this lesson, the big takeaway here is the notes that you're playing over each chord. You can take a simple lick like this and make some simple variations to make it unique and different. You don't need a lot of licks to play through a 12-bar blues. You can take a couple licks and make small tweaks to those licks as you're playing through. So that's a good go-to for any time you're playing over the 4 chord there. And you can really do something similar over any chord in a 12-bar blues, a major 12-bar blues where all the chords are flat 7s. That works over any chord. So you can do this over the E flat dominant chord, but you can actually do a very similar lick over the B flat 7. Right? I just moved it down 1 string. So instead of this, I want to play over the B flat. It's the same notes relative to the underlying chord. So when we move that lick just down a string, we got the major third, we have the root, and we have the flat 7. You could go up to the F and do the same thing. So that's another way to work with these licks too. Notice that you can transpose them to other chords really easily, right? In this case, I just moved it down 1 string, and now it becomes a B flat 7 lick that sounds really good. So right. So another thing to take away. So I'll play through this one more time. Okay, so let's get through this next lick. This is playing from the E7 chord, again, the 4 chord to the back to the root, the B flat 7. So the last note in this lick lands on the B7, but we're working on the E7 prior to that. Now in part 1 of this lesson, one of the second lick we talked about there was a lick where we're emphasizing the E flat note over the E flat chord. Makes sense, right? Anytime we're emphasizing that E flat note we're staying in the B flat minor pentatonic scale, it's going to sound like a good lick. So same idea. We're same notes. We're just playing a little more aggressively, I guess. Here, we're playing a few more notes. So play through the lick one more time, and I'll talk about a couple of the ideas here. So. Something like that. Now, the part where I play more notes than the last time I played a version of this lick is this part right here. So I just did a little repetition. I played the same lick twice, right? Repetition is a nice tactic because if something works well once, it's going to tend to work well twice, as opposed to it's just an easy thing to squeeze into an improvisation, as opposed to playing over the four bars, or the 4 bars in the measure, where you're coming up with something unique throughout the entire bar. You can just do one thing over and over again, and it's just easy to get away with. It's less thinking, right? So repetition is a good little improvisation tactic. Now the last part of the lick that's worth pointing out here, I go like this. Well, that, of course, leads the B flat 7 really well there, right? This first part of the lick, still really good over the E flat 7, because we got the flat 7 and the 5 there of the E flat. And then the last 2 notes there, that is the major third and the root of B flat. Right? So how perfect is that? So we're working on our E flat 7 here. And then we're ready to transition to the B flat 7. It's that simple. We're right. We don't have to move our hands all over the fretboard to make it a smooth transition to that B flat 7 chord. The major third right there, right, is just a half step below the root of E flat there. So you can do something that simple too, right? When you transition to that B flat 7 chord. Again, the major third is a great note to emphasize. So that's it. So things to pull out of this lick is really just the repetition. It's a good little improvisation tactic. And then also landing strongly on the key notes, the major third and the root of that B flat 7 chord when we come out of the lick. A lot of ways to work with that. All right, so I'll play through it one more time. Okay, so in lick 3, we're getting to the 5 chord, so the F7. in our B flat 7 12-bar blues. So it's going to go like this. Right? We do the little turnaround at the end. So what to play over the F7 chord? So a note that works really good over the 5 chord is actually the minor third of the 5 chord. So works really well. The minor third. You could do the major third too. That's a way to spell out the 5 to 4 to 1 transition. But over the 5, mix it up a little bit. The minor third sounds really good too. So basically I'm going from the root, which is the F over the F chord, of course, and I'm landing on the minor third. So I'm going like this. So I'm hitting the minor third before I'm transitioning down to our E flat territory to play over the E. So that's what you should be hearing here. You should be hearing the F7 chord and then transition to the E7. So that's what we're going for. So so that's the first part of the lick is that's over the F7. And then we get to that over the E flat 7. Really just, again, a really safe place to go to when you get to that 4 chord is the root of that chord, the E flat. So wherever you are, if you go to that note when you transition to the E flat, you're safe, and that's basically what I'm doing here. So. We do that little part right there. And then the part that comes up next in the solo that's not part of this lick, I'm transitioning back to the 1 chord. So after you hit this note, I'm landing on this note. And that would get us back to the B flat. So F7 to E flat to B flat, right? So again, this lick is really here to show the transition from the F7 to the E7. Again, the key takeaways being the notes you land on there on the F, which are the minor third of F, the A flat note, and then we get to this E7 and we start emphasizing that E flat note again. So I certainly encourage you to experiment. Again, just take the idea. Don't try and play the lick note for note necessarily. Just try a lick where you play the minor third over the F, and then play a lick where you emphasize the E flat note when you get to the E flat chord. So it can be that simple. Do something a little more complicated, right? But the key takeaway is emphasize the E flat note. So that's it. That's all that we're doing in this lick. I'll play through it one more time.